Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can use Firebase Phone Authentication. Also, I'm going to show you how you can implement the um, how you can store the first name, last name, and email in the real-time database after the authentication. Also, I'm going to show you how you can make the sign out call from the application. So let's begin with adding the dependencies. So first of all, we need to add uh, authentication uh, dependency. So add this Google Firebase auth, and then we are going to use the real-time database. So add the Firebase database, the Google one. Once your project is synced, then we'll start with the UI part. So let me add a edit text. So on this first phone authentication screen, I just need a edit text and a button. So once user will enter the phone number, then he'll receive a SMS, and then we'll make the authentication API. So this is the button on which user can click. So layout is done. Now let's implement it in the main activity. So main activity is going to be taking the input from the user as the 10-digit phone number. And let's handle the button click as well. Here phone number will contain the entered phone number. And on button click, we are going to call this function. So we need the Firebase auth instance. I'm declaring it on the global level, and then I'm initializing it on the onCreate function. Set the phone number, whatever user has entered. We need to pass the activity and the callback. And now we need to define this callback. So let's define the callback now. and now we need to override its function. And in case of it failed or success, we'll handle it later. So first pass this callback in our options, and now call just build. Now phone auth provider, and we'll hold these options in the variable and pass it to this function. Now in case of it failed, we need to override one more function on code send. This is very important function, so don't forget to override it. In case of failure, we'll simply show a toast message as usual. You can define your own message in dialog or anywhere. So I'm displaying whatever message will come from the server. So that's it. Now I'm adding another activity which is going to take the input for the SMS or the text message which the user is going to receive on his phone number. And once we receive the code, in on code send function will launch the code verification activity. And inside the intent we need to pass this value. It's like a token, and we need to pass it to that activity. Because we need to send this code what we received to back to the Firebase along with the entered code. So we need to pass this value to the second activity. Now let's go to the code verification activity and implement its layout. And first of all, retrieve the value what is we sent from the phone main activity, this code. So make sure to use the same key, and I'm giving it as a name code. Now for layout, it's gonna be the similar as the main activity layout, to one edit text and one button. So I'm just copying paste from the main activity and making the ID change modification and some text what we need to display. So it's gonna be very easy. Okay, now similarly we need to extract the values what user is entering, like the 6-digit code what user is entering and the simple button click. So extract it and handle the button click. And here we need the auth, so Firebase auth object. So I'm simply copy paste from the main activity as we already did there. I'm creating a separate function which is we are going to call on the button click. So I'm giving it as a name the verify code, and passing the value what user entered in the edit text or the received code on his cell or phone. And we need that code as well what we received on the previous activity, so we need that as well. Now we'll make the call to Firebase to authenticate. So phone auth provider dot get credentials. So we'll get the credentials first with these two values. And it is going to return the credentials. Now I'm creating another function just to break down the code. So this function is sign in with credentials, and it is going to take the input as a phone auth credentials. And I'm calling it from here and passing these credentials here. Now call sign in with credentials and pass the credentials what we passed from previous function. And we need to add the on change listener, and based on this add on change listener will check if it is successful or the failure. So if it is successful, that means user is authenticated and will navigate to the profile activity or whatever activity we have next. In our case, I'm going to create a profile activity. If in else case, we'll simply keep the user on the same screen and will show the error message to user in the toast. And we'll show the message whatever we received from the server. And now I am adding third activity, that is the profile activity, so that user can land on that screen and see his own information. And we'll add the logout button as well. So let's complete this layout. So this is quite similar to the main activity layout, so I'm just copy paste. And similarly I'm retrieving all the values for the button and handling the button click. Phone number text field is like authentication number we are going to display. So we need here Firebase auth instance, so let's copy paste it. Similarly non-create will initialize it, and auth and call sign out function. So this will log out the user and clear the session. In this case, we can send user to the first activity, that is the main activity. So once user is logged out, then you have to again authenticate after entering the phone number. And on the phone number text view will display just the authenticated phone number. So that is very simple. We need the instance of Firebase auth mauth dot current user dot phone number. So it will simply give us the authenticated phone number. Or we can say logged in user phone number. Now let's set up our Firebase account. So first of all, I'm typing Firebase. You can directly navigate, go to console, and here click on create project, and give any name, whatever you want to give. I'm giving Firebase Phone Auth as a project name. Click on continue. I don't want analytics, I'm closing it. It will take some time to create. So once that's done, then click on continue. Here click on the Android icon and pass the package name whatever you gave to your application. So just copy the package name of application and then paste it. Rest everything is optional, and click on this button. Here we need this Google service in JSON file. We need to download and put it in the root directory of our project, as we did several times in the past as well. So just copy and paste it. There you go. We are done with this step. Now click on next. It is showing us some instructions what we need to do, but we already added the dependencies, so we don't need to do anything. Now once you go to the dashboard, then click on the authentication tab and see this phone and enable it. Until you will not enable it here, you won't be able to authenticate and save. So there are multiple types of authentications here. You can use anyone. Also, as I said, we are going to store first name, last name and email, so we need to create this database as well and change the rule from false to true, and click on publish button. So our portal is ready now. So currently we don't have any authenticated user here, so let's see and run our application. Since we need a SMS, so I'm going to run it on the real phone, so I need a visor to run on my phone. So we are able to successfully run this application. That's great. I'm entering my real number. That's why it's blurred. And send it. It's crashed. Let's see what we missed. Okay, let's click on it. Alright, we missed to set the timeout, so let's do it. Set timeout value. It should be less than 120, so I'm setting it as a 60 seconds. There we go. Now let's run it again and see. Okay, let me add the number. So make sure to enter the number with the plus sign and the country code. So it is still showing some error to me. Okay, once you are done, then go to these settings and we need to add the fingerprint of our signing key. So go to Gradle, click on this signing file, and you'll be able to get the SHA1 and SHA256. So copy this SHA256 and SHA1 and paste it here. Once you are able to add the fingerprint, then it should be good. This is still showing some error. What we are missing? A browser. Okay, so we need to add one more dependency for browser. So this is just to prevent the fake users and all it needed. You have seen like a lot of time raptcha uh, authentication. So this is for that purpose. If any robot or something is trying to make the unlimited calls. So this is just to prevent it. We are just adding that dependency. Now let's run it. Add the number with country code. I'll show you how you can use the test numbers as well. So it's authenticating. Yeah, for this purpose it asks us to add the browser. There you go. So I received the code and I'm entering. Okay, I think it's still missing something. Oh, we did not call the, after successful we are not doing anything. So let me call the profile activity here. It's my bad. And we don't need to pass anything and simply will close this current activity. Yeah, let's run it and say it again. Yeah, I'm running, I'm entering with +1 the country code and the number, 10-digit number. It's authenticating me and I got the SMS. Let me enter that. There you go. So we are successfully able to authenticate with the phone number. That's great. So now I'm overriding the on start function. So when user is already authenticated, we don't need to ask him for entering the phone number and retrieve the SMS and then going to the profile like again and again. He don't need to do that. So that's the reason if user is already logged in, we can directly navigate to the profile activity. So in our on create function of main activity, we are just checking the current user is not null or not. You can do it in your splash screen or whatever your first screen you have. So there you can check if you have the session, then directly navigate user to their main or home activity. So now I call the sign out. So that's the reason it is showing me phone authentication screen. So now let me show you how you can use your own, any number for the testing purpose. So go there and add any number here with the country code. So I'm adding one number and you can pass the code. So you don't need, just for the testing purpose or the development purpose, you don't need a real number. If you want to avoid the real number, then you can take this step and add any number, any fake number, or you can add the any 6-digit code. So in that case, Firebase will authenticate you with that code only. It will not generate a 6-digit code. So let me try with that. So I added 2022303404 and 5. It's authenticating. So it will work exactly same as it's going to work with the real number. So I'm entering the same code what I gave there. There you go. So you can see the number as well. You can see everything like a real number. So this is for the development purpose only. Now let me show you how you can add the first name and last name corresponding to this user in your real-time database. So I'm adding one more activity, add personal info, personal details activity. Yeah, so this is the activity where we need some edit text to take the input as a first name, last name, and the email, and one button to save that information. So this is just the simple layout design. Yeah, done. And now I'm retrieving all these values and the button click. And we need the Firebase auth uh, instance. So I'm doing it as we did it in the main activity and other activities. Here also we need that amount. There you go. Additionally, we need the Firebase database instance as well. So let's see. We'll simply initialize it. We need Firebase database. Yeah. I'll show you how you can retrieve as well. So once we'll store, then we'll retrieve it on the profile activity. So here database reference.child and pass the table name, whatever you want. I am passing profile. So you need to pass the same name while retrieving as well. So once you have this reference, then we need to add a listener. And what dot current user dot UID, that is the unique identifier for each user, or you can say the table reference. So once we have the reference for that user, then we'll add this. Simply the first name and we'll set the value and pass what user has entered. In our case it's a first name. Similarly, we'll need to do the same step for last name and email. Make sure to pass these values, whatever I am passing in the double quotes, exactly same while you are retrieving. So at the time of storing, I'm passing it as a uh, in double quotes. You need to use the same as in the profile activity. And in the profile activity, I am adding a button which will redirect us or navigate us to the add personal detail activity. And now we need to handle that button click and launch the same as sign out button. So we need to just launch the activity, add personal details. We don't need to close this activity as user can come back. Yeah, that's it, and let's run. Okay, we need to display those entered value in our profile activity. So let's write the code for that as well. So let's get the database reference first. Now simply initialize it similar way. And we need to use the same name. So I'm using as the profile still. And we'll set all the values to this text itself. I'm putting all the values in a string builder so that we can easily append it. You can use multiple textures. I'm just simply using a string builder and setting it to the one texture. It is as a matter of retrieving how we can retrieve. For separation, I'm adding /n. First value is for the entered as a phone number, so that is very simple. But while we are retrieving the first name and last name, we need to use the reference of our real-time database. Here also we need to get the reference of our current user. This is the same step as we did for the adding at the time of adding. With the help of snapshot, we can retrieve the value. Here we need to pass the exact same keyword what we pass at the time of adding. And now we can do the same thing for email and last name. There you go. Yep, now let's run and see. So we see the button. Currently all the values are null because we did not add it. So let's add first name John, anything, any email. Now click on the save button. Okay, we did not close that activity. Okay, when we are storing we should close this, so let's call it finish, and now let's run it again. So let's authenticate it one more time. There you go. So whatever we stored we are able to retrieve it. That's all for today's video. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.